Can you do the job? Before an employer decides to give someone the job, they need to be convinced that the person can either do the job properly or learn it quickly. So, can you do the job? They include questions that seek to clarify your first skills. For example, they want to know when an irate client rings and gives you a blast over the phone, how do you handle it? For the knowledge, they want to know what would you say makes an effective manager of people. About your experience, can you give us an example of a project that you had to plan and organize? What steps did you take? They want to know that you have that practical experience from the example you provide them. Also, your key achievement. They might ask you, tell us about one of your key achievements. You won a certificate, you were the top of one of the top of sales achievers, etc. Now, potential performance. They want to know, do you have a potential when you get the job? So why should we employ you? What do you regard as your greatest strength? That will help them decide more. Now, an advice, there is important steps to prepare for an interview. First, finding out as much about the job as possible. Talking to an employer to find out more about the job. You can ring the company, talk with the secretary. If you find someone you know that works in the same company, you can ring him and ask about the company. Going through the 4th steps method coming in the next slide will definitely helps you to recognize behavioral questions that we mentioned before, which are designed to uncover the actions or behaviors behind an outcome or a duty. And what we mean about that, so first of all, you know that any job required, there are certain duties and requirements for that position. So you need to list those duties and requirements you are applying for in the first place. And a duty is a specific description of an action and how to do it and what are the outcome of the result and who's going to do it. And that will be in the job description of the position itself. Now next, what I've already done that relates directly to the duties. And this is very important. I should think in the past what I did that matched the job description in the position. So what you did and how you did it and how it relates to that job description. And next, you should describe the current or the past context. Where did you do those duties? And a good idea to begin your answers is by giving the interviewer an insight into the context in which you performed the duties. Example, I planned and organized my work in a fast-paced entrepreneur environment in my past company. Now, the 4th thing, the outcome. What was the outcome of you doing these duties? For example, organizational and personal outcomes. Now, for the organizational outcome, include any improvement occurred by the organization as a result of your work. Now, outcome better to be quantified. You can use best guess estimates. For example, the quality or the customer service improved by 5%. The waste reduced by 6%. They should not be accurate, but you can use your best guess estimate so that you will be more credible to the interviewer. The other thing is the personal outcome. For example, I got to learn new skills. I improved my existing skills or gaining new insights on subjects I have never before got information on, etc. Now, to give you an example, Let's suppose that you are a trainee pharmacist who had a training in a pharmacy since, and you want to apply for a medical rep position. Now, if you apply the 4 steps to interview success, first of all, we should list the duties requirement of the position that we are applying for. So if I look to the job description, it could say promoting medication to doctors or medicine to doctors, having good communication skills, and etc. Now, I would look into these duties, and then I should ask myself what I have already did that relates directly to the duties listed in step 1. So I can say that I did answer the patient clinical questions, and that triggers me to read more about treatment of most common clinical conditions we deal in the pharmacy. Also, I have been discussing with physicians about their prescription and convincing them to replace their medication with better ones when necessary. So all these relates to the promote of medication to doctors and having good communication skills, because I communicated clearly with the patient and with the physician. On top of that, I read more about clinical conditions so that I can communicate better. The third thing is I should put that all in context, how it happened, where it did happen, so I would be more credible. So that happened when I was a trainee in the Upbeat Pharmacy. Upbeat Pharmacy was a busy pharmacy serving more than 100 patients per day. We have very high quality standards, and we have to maintain our reputation. And then fourth thing, what I should ask myself, what were the outcome or the in terms of organizational and personal outcome that I gained from that experience. So for example, with organizational outcome, I meet the patient's clinical information need. I improve pharmacy clinical reputation, and this lead to a successful adoption of CME system for employees there. On the personal outcome side, I could say I learned how to use communication skills in delivering the right message for the patient and doctors. All this will tell the interviewer that I am a right candidate for this job. Now, in order to formulate the reply for that question or the narrative into a full reply, I would say the following. As a trainee pharmacist working in fast-paced, highly busy pharmacy, so I will start with step 3, I just highlighted the context. My main role in the pharmacy was to answer patients' clinical questions. And this led to train myself in improving my pharma and communication skills knowledge. And I started reading about treatment of most clinical conditions we deal in the pharmacy. I was also discussing with physicians about their prescription and convincing them to replace their medication with better ones when necessary. So the second part of the narrative you see here, we speak about step 2. And that means how my functions or duties that or experience or what I did before relate to the duties mentioned in the job description. And then I would continue and would say about the outcomes. The outcomes were very positive. Not only did I begin to meet the patient clinical info need, but I also put into place procedure that improved the pharmacy clinical reputation through adopting a CME system for employees there. I learned how to use communication skills with the patients and doctors. Again, this will summarize step 4, and all in all, it will give a strong indication for the interviewer that I am the right person for the job. Now we will move to a new subject, which is called same skills, different job. Too often people fail to make the link between their existing skills and the skills required for the job they want.